So what made you want to get into, law and trade, and what you specialize in now thus far, trademark, copyrights and things like that? Like what made you interested in that?
So as far as becoming a lawyer, I knew from I want to say 8th grade. Yeah, that I wanted to be a lawyer. It was actually a pretty traumatic experience here in Minneapolis. I've posted about it before, but it was like some police brutality type mess. Ironically, today is Juneteenth, but it was at the Juneteenth festival. Like I said, when I was in 8th grade, the police trampled over my friend, and we're two 13, 14-year-old girls, and I don't want to go into detail, but it was just a horrible experience. And I was as a 13-year-old, I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna change the world. We're not I was over it. So that was when I was okay, I'm gonna become a lawyer.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Guliato Bang a Boy. You're now tuned with Edition Podcast. Yes, we are back again. I took last week off because it was my birthday week, so I apologize for not having an episode. But today is a very selfish episode of mine that I wanted to have. I got a very special guest in the building. None of you guys artists, first of all, sent me your music. So, I didn't put a PSA out there, but I'm kind of angry, you guys. We got Jambah in the building. Jambah. Sorry, I knew I was going to mess it up. Jambah's in the building. She is from ATL. She lives in ATL right now, so I'm very appreciative of you coming.
But
from
Minnesota.
From Minnesota. She actually just flew in just for this interview. So, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you. Today's episode, like I said, is very selfish. You are a business and entertainment lawyer where you work on, I think it was contracts, copyrights, and trademarks. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we're actually expanding to immigration law as well.
Okay.
But more on the business and employment side, just because it kind of makes sense with what we do with entertainment law.
Yeah.
So I've been working with some artists recently on getting their visas to come here to tour. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's I haven't made a big announcement yet that we're now doing legal services or immigration services, but we are adding that. So.
Y'all hear that? All my people, you want your green card? You know what to do, man. We're going to put the link right here. You're going to go right to it. So you said you are from here. So what I like to do is usually give a little bit of background, where you grew up. But you just told us already. But what part of town in Minneapolis were you from?
I'm from Brooklyn Park, actually.
BP? Okay.
Yeah, from Brooklyn Park. I grew up around Zane, 73rd-ish area.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
You're not from what part? Where are you from?
I'm from everywhere. So I was born in Africa, but then I would move to Austin, Minnesota. No, Mankato, Minnesota, and then Austin, Minnesota. So I'm not really familiar with all of
Okay, so not too much of the city.
Not too much of the city.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm from Brooklyn Park, Little Liberia. I'm Liberian
You're
as
Liberian?
well.
Okay,
yes.
They gonna love you.
And I went to Cooper in New Hope, graduated 09, and then I left 09 when I started college.
Yeah.
Went to DC, to Howard.
Okay.
Yeah,
my last guest, that was Jamila. She went to Howard too.
Oh, really?
And she's a lawyer also. That's crazy.
I wonder if I know her.
Jamila Toussaint. She's like Miss Black USA.
Okay. No, I don't think I know her.
Okay.
Maybe I know her by face.
Okay. Yeah, I'll show you a picture later.
Yeah, I wonder what year she graduated. I wonder if we went around the same time.
It might have been around the same time if I remember correctly.
I'm class of 2013. So, but I'll find that last episode. See if
you can
know
do
her. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So Howard University, how'd that go?
It was an experience, a time. I actually, when I was graduating from high school, I was like, I'm not going to any other school besides Howard. Yeah. So I only applied to Howard. I remember my counselor was like, no, you need to apply to safe schools too. What if you don't get in? I was like, I'm getting in. I'm going to Howard. Yeah. And it worked out.
That's awesome. What'd you study? I'm guessing you studied law over there, or what'd you study?
No, actually, because to be a lawyer, to go to law school, you can have any background. You can have a science background, communications. You don't have to do law. So I did administration of justice, which is basically criminal justice and sociology.
Okay.
I did that and then went to law school. But really, you could do anything.
You can do anything. Yeah. So I can go be a lawyer right now. How long does that usually take, though?
Law school? It's 3 years.
Oh, yeah. I ain't got 3
years. Yeah, it's 3 years. And then after you graduate, you have to study for 2.5 months for the bar. That's bar prep. You take the exam, and then you wait another 3 months or so for the results. Yeah. And then you got to get licensed, you get sworn in, and then that's when technically you're a lawyer. You're not a lawyer when you graduate from law school, technically.
Damn. Damn.
You just have a law degree.
I think that's too extensive for me.
Yeah,
I'll just get the BA. I'm out. I'm out in 4 years. I'm out of there.
Yeah, it's a lot for sure. Yeah.
So, what made you want to get into, law and trade, and what you specialize in now thus far, trademark, copyrights, and things like that? Like, what made you interested?
So as far as becoming a lawyer, I knew from I want to say 8th grade. Yeah, that I wanted to be a lawyer. It was actually a pretty traumatic experience here in Minneapolis. I've posted about it before, but it was like some police brutality type mess. Ironically, today is Juneteenth, but it was at the Juneteenth festival. Like I said, when I was in 8th grade, the police trampled over my friend, and we're 2 13 14-year-old girls, and it was I don't want to go into detail, but it was just a horrible experience. And I was as a 13-year-old, I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna change the world. We're not I was over it. So that was when I was okay, I'm gonna become a lawyer.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This episode of Edition Podcast is brought to you by Raw Beauty Skin and Body Bar, a place to revitalize, refocus, and refresh. Raw Beauty Skin and Body Bar has the ultimate facials for anybody's skin condition. For more information, visit www.rawbeauty.com. Let them know who brought you in. Guliato Bang a Boy. Let's get it. Yep.
Obviously, that's not what I do now, because I don't do civil rights law. I don't do criminal law. As I got older, I realized there are a lot of other areas that I could focus on. But in terms of business, I feel like I've always kind of been into entrepreneurship. And I thought about doing other things when I graduated, and it was actually time to get out there. But I feel like a lot of the other areas of law, they can be emotionally tolling. And I feel like I'm someone who feels my emotions deeply. And I just didn't want my money, my bread and butter to be so tied to something that could cause me emotional stress. You're working with entrepreneurs, they're usually optimistic, they're looking forward to something, you're helping them, in a transition, something that they're looking forward to, as opposed to, criminal lawyers, family law attorneys. They're usually helping people in times when they're in crisis, usually the worst time of their life, which those attorneys, I mean,
they're tough. Huh?
They're tough. They're strong. I appreciate them greatly, but for me, I was just I don't want to do that.
You know what's crazy? When you said, when you just gave the story, what happened and made you want to be a lawyer. Usually in the African community, you're forced to be, I need you to be a lawyer. I want you to be a doctor. You know, and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty interesting that, you were decided, this is what I want to do. I mean, your parents were probably
I'm
happy.
sure my parents were happy.
You had to force it? We got one. We got them. So that's dope. So I guess now when you move, why Atlanta? I guess a lot of people, because the reason I even asked that is because everyone I speak to nowadays, I know you moved a while back, everyone I'm moving to Dallas. I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm moving in here and that. Why Atlanta?
So, okay, when I was graduating, like I was mentioning to you, the whole bar process is state specific. So you take the bar for the state that you're going to get licensed in and practice in. So I'm deciding, I thought about moving here just because there's a lot of things that I enjoy doing in the community and that I want to do in the community. And I'm okay, if I'm going to do community work, it should be where I'm from. I should help people that we come from the same place. So I thought about that. My mom was against it. My mom was like, you don't even know how to drive in Minnesota winter. She was like, you were a kid when you left. You're not going back to Minnesota. So that was out. And then it was between Georgia, Atlanta, and Texas. But I didn't get a chance to visit Texas.
I said.
No, but I love Houston. I've been to Houston. I've been to Dallas and Houston, and I love Houston is one of my favorite cities. Okay, I feel like if I had gone to Texas, I wouldn't have regretted it. But at the time when I was taking the bar, I hadn't had a chance to visit. So I was I'm not gonna just move there blindly. But my family, we lived in Atlanta, in elementary school. So, and I had obviously since then visited plenty of times. So I was a little more familiar with it. Also, it's really a great place for entrepreneurship. So it made sense.
I was about to say, someone told me they got all the scammers out there. I don't know.
They do.
It was hey, you want to park here? Yeah, that'd be $50. Bro, you don't know this place. What are you talking about? So I was seeing some videos. That's interesting. Now, the reason, like I said earlier, this is a selfish reason, but everybody, is creating business nowadays. LLCs are booming. Everybody's doing this and that, but I don't think I think it just sounds so lucrative, you know, that, you know, people are just doing it. So I was like, I want to have an episode where I want to get someone who's professional that knows what they're doing. So people that want to do this for real, all your stuff's in order. You know what you have to do. You know the difference between this and that, so that you're official. So, like, for me personally, like, when I go to businesses, I want to make sure, like, I talk to you. Okay, I got everything right. Is this good? Now I'm official. Then nothing's missing. All my paperwork's in place. I'm protected, right? And I just want to go over details that entrepreneurs like miss, or, you know, or what do they need to protect themselves. And I think that's very important, and that's why I have you here today. So to start off, we're just going to make it simple, just like we're talking to a baby, right? That's how I digest information. Like, you can't be a doctor saying doctor words to me. I'm going to walk out, right? So what is the difference between, I mean, can you define trademark and then also copyright, you know, just so for the people out there, it doesn't have to be verbatim, but, like, just give them what it is.
Okay, so I would say they're both legal tools. A trademark, it protects your brand identity. So that's going to be your business name, your logo, any like taglines or slogans that you use, things that consumers identify with your business.
Okay.
So, and that's why there's a lot of trademark wars out there, just in terms of people using trademarks and names that are confusingly similar. That's the standard. Confusingly similar. Is the consumer going to be confused about it?
About this,
about who owns this company, where these products or goods or services are coming from.
Yeah.
And then your copyright, it protects creative works of authorship.
Okay.
And it has to be something tangible. So it doesn't protect an idea in your mind, but if you create like a book, obviously music, anything that's authorship, it's creative, so unique as well. You would protect that with a copyright.
So the first question that just come off my mind right away, I mean, even though I had some things that I wanted to kind of go in order, but it's like, how do you know someone is using your line from Atlanta or from different states? Like, how do you monitor that, or how do you even know that, if, let's say, you're all protected, right? How do you know that someone else is using your thing so you can tell them to stop?
Well, it's technically your responsibility as the trademark owner to watch and monitor your trademark. I think it's easier to identify this because with technology, with the internet. So really just doing searches. I know there are some attorneys that offer like trademark watch services. And from my understanding, they use like certain technology that kind of picks up on keywords. Some, not all. But really it's your responsibility to kind of watch that. And that's, just searching on Instagram, on social media, doing searches on Facebook, Google. That's how you do that.
Man, that's crazy. Cause okay, what do you do when you find someone that's using your stuff? You're selling shirts.
You contact me, and then I'm gonna send a very stern cease and desist letter, and you tell that person that you're infringing on this trademark. And if you don't, so if you have a registered trademark, you also have access to what's called the statutory benefits. So I think it's like $100,000 would be the max, in addition to any profits and earnings that company has gained from using that trademark. Wow. So usually what the letter looks like from the beginning is you're infringing on this trademark. This is a trademark registration. Cease and desist. Respond to me in the next 10 days, let me know you've received this notice, and let me know what actions you're going to take, or legal action will be taken. And then if the legal action is taken and you have the registered trademark, then you get all of those additional benefits.
Okay. That is crazy. So anybody out there that want to use my thing, I'm about to be on your ass. Okay, so someone always, I guess you kind of explained why it's important, because it is going to protect you, right? So who needs a trademark and copyright? Like, is it just anyone, or just all business owners? Like, who else needs it,
Business owners, entertainers. I recommend that rappers, particularly rappers and musicians, should also trademark their stage name. And now even more so in this age of like digital streaming, just because like I'm trying to think of who. Let's use like DaBaby and Lil Baby.
Oh yeah.
When these artists first came out, a lot of people were confused about who was who. I don't know if they have trademarks. Surprisingly, there's a lot of artists that don't have their names trademarked. But let's just say Lil Baby was out first. If he had trademarked his stage name, and someone like DaBaby or someone else came out and tried to use that name, he could stop them, and that would be beneficial because if I'm going to look up Lil Baby's most recent song, let's just say I type baby, the likelihood of the baby coming up is
pretty high,
yes,
too.
but if you've prevented anyone from using a name that's similar, then they won't pop up when it's time to stream your album and you're trying to chart. So it definitely makes sense with entertainers as well.
That's interesting because I thought that, you just saying that's crazy because I thought him being different is putting "duh" in there instead of
it's a difference, but you remember I said the standard is confusingly similar. So it's not exactly similar. Two people who have, if the consumer can be confused, then you have an argument that you shouldn't be able to use that trademark.
Okay. Got a quick question for you because I saw this online with that one right there. How do you, because you know Dove, right? There's Dove soap, the soap,
Dove
and then there's chocolate. What?
So the difference there is that those fall under different classes. So technically what the trademark offices, like their mindset behind it is that if I tell someone, hey, you should check out Dove soap, and they go and search Dove and chocolate comes up, they should have enough common sense to say, okay, this is probably not the company because I'm looking for soap and not chocolate.
So if I ate let's say I was like, I put in Dove. I was like, yo, they told me they were a chocolate company. I ate the soap. Do I have a case there?
I don't know. You might
have tried this. Hey, they told me it's Dove. Look. That's funny.
Yeah. So two people can use the same name if they're for different goods or services. Okay. If they're distinct enough that they would fall under different classes and that the consumer again would not be confused.
How many classes are there?
I think there's like 54, somewhere between like 45 to 55. I don't remember the exact number, but somewhere around there. Okay. And then like the classes are in like categories. So I was mentioning to the guy that just left that apparel and clothing is class 25. Yep. But like cosmetics, lotions, all those fall under class 3. So skincare, if I'm not mistaken, skincare as well. So those are kind of different, but there's a number of categories of product, a number of type of product and service that can fall under one class. Okay. For example, now, so I have Audition Podcast, right? Which is entertainment
services. Okay. And I want to create a soap. I have to file for entertainment.
Yep.
And soap.
Yep. So you want to use the same name for your soap and your podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you were to do it in one application, you would just file in the two different classes, and then you would pay filing fees for the two different classes. But let's say you started the podcast first, you went and got it trademarked, and then later on you come out with soap or apparel. You're gonna need a completely different application for those goods. And it can get
pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
but you have the option also, like if you, let's say you started your podcast and in your mind, in the next year or so you want to do apparel or soap or whatever the case may be, you can file what's called an intent to use application. And you'll get like an additional 6 months on top of, so the average trademark process takes about, it used to be 8 to 12 months, but it's, it takes a while.
Yo, so this is not like I trademarked it last week. No, this is...
but so even though, so it takes 8 to 12 months longer now.
Yeah.
Since COVID started, it's been taking a lot longer.
Yeah.
But your rights would kind of be backdated. So your registration date would show that, but from the moment you file, let's say somebody 6 months after your application starts using that trademark.
Yeah.
Assuming your registration goes through, you would be able to.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, why wouldn't they go through?
So if there's already a trademark that's confusingly similar, they'll deny it. If the application is done wrong, so it's good to work with an attorney. If you don't have a correct specimen, an improper specimen, which is basically something that shows where the goods are coming from. So your specimen can be like a screenshot of your website. For clothing, it could be like a hang tag or a tag in your shirt. They won't accept like the name on the actual clothing because it's considered the design.
Okay.
For like cosmetics and soaps, it could be, or let's say a soda, it could be something like this, just a picture of the can and shows Canada Dry. It's just so you're showing it in use, basically.
Oh, you gotta show it in use.
Right. So, but if the specimen is improper, they can deny it for that. If it's too generic, so for instance, let's say it's a donut shop and your shop is called Tasty Donuts, that's kind of, they would say that's descriptive for donuts and likely deny that application too.
Wow. So definitely go through a lawyer,
Yeah.
or else you're gonna be.
Yeah,
Do you have to pay every time? Like, let's say they denied my claim or whatever. Do they? And I start over the process. I got to start it over again.
So that's going to depend on the lawyer and the law firm. So for me, let's say you pay what my fee is for the trademark service, and after I do the search, we find out that it's going to be denied. Someone else has this trademark or has something similar. Typically, I'll take whatever the prorated amount is for the search portion, not the filing, and I'll probably give them like a half off discount to do a new search, if they're willing to rebrand. Some people are like, I'm not rebranding. I'm just going to thug it out and continue to use it. And that's why it's really important to do it early on, because you don't want to invest so much into your brand only to find out that you can't get that trademark.
Yeah, my brain is crazy right now. Like, it's running all over the place. Please, Lord, make sure I do everything right. So when you're doing that, let's say, what is the, not your pricing writer, but like to do a trademark, how much does it cost? I think you were explaining it earlier, like, homeboy, Omat was here, Kim's brother, he's like, how much it is? He's like, I did it $200. She's like,
the
increase
filing
now.
fee went up. Yeah, the filing fee now is $350. That's just for the filing fee, and then you got your attorney's fees as well. So, just from what I've seen in the market, like I've seen attorneys do it for like $1,400 to $1,500, but I've seen people charge as much as $4,000 for it. So
whoa,
yeah. So it depends on who you work with.
And so that filing fee is only for one class?
For one class. If you have additional classes, then you have to pay an additional filing fee.
And then just the lawyer fee always stay the same.
Assuming you do one application. Yes.
Okay. Yikes. Yo, please do it all in one application, or else you're going to get cracked in the head. So I saw online too somewhere where they had state and federal. There's two different ones, right?
Yeah.
Trademark. So can you explain the difference between the two? Like, why have... Yeah.
So I normally don't recommend that people get a state trademark, because, again, you're only going to get protection in that state that you file in.
Okay.
And like I was explaining to your friend earlier, technically, as soon as you start using a trademark, assuming no one else already has it, you have what are called common law rights in that trademark. But those common law rights are specific to a certain geographic location, which the trademark office doesn't specify what that means, but it usually means like within your state. Sometimes it can mean like just within the city, like it might mean just Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Somebody way far out is using, they might be able to get away with it, or at least have an argument that they should be able to, because the areas are so far away. But you have rights right away. So technically, your common law trademark is very similar to your state trademark. So there's no real reason to go get the state trademark. The federal trademark is going to protect you throughout the country. Okay. So, and again, especially in this age of e-commerce and people having stores online, you need that that protection throughout the country. The only time that I have recommended that somebody get a state trademark has been a client of mine that's in the cannabis industry. So, right now, marijuana, is not it's state specific. Yeah. So you can't get a trademark for, let's say you have a what do they call them? Cannabis farms? What do they call the places where let's say you have a dispensary or you're doing something with weed, basically. Yeah. You're not going to be able to get a trademark for that yet, because technically it's not legal yet. It's not it's not federally regulated. Okay. So in that case, if, let's say, your company is in California, that was my client's situation, I recommended that he go ahead and move forward with the state trademark. And then, sometimes he was like, well, can we just file it? Because we can anticipate that eventually it's going to be legal everywhere. We can anticipate it, but you never know. It might be 5 years from now. It might be 10 years from now. So, yeah. But otherwise, there's no real reason to get the state trademark.
State one. Yeah. Okay, so just do the
federal.
federal.
People come to me and they're like, "Oh, I got a trademark. I got a state trademark." I'm like,
"Please, come on now."
That's not what you need.
Okay. Now, in this era nowadays that we have, everyone's got a LLC, right? And all this. Can you give us I guess, what is a LLC for the people who do not know, right? Because I think some people just use it, just say like, hey, I got one, baby.
I'm legit.
I'm legit. I got an LLC, baby. You know what's up. So let us know a little bit about LLCs, you know.
Yeah, so your LLC is basically your registration with the state, just saying that you're here and you're doing business. And the real benefit of it, which a lot of people don't know, is that it protects you as an individual from personal liability.
Okay.
So let's say you have a day spa. Someone comes in, they slip and fall at the entrance of the spa.
Yeah.
They get hurt and they want to sue you. But you got your LLC and you're doing everything you're supposed to do because you have responsibilities as well with the LLC. You don't just go get the LLC and you good.
Yeah.
We can talk about that as well.
Yeah, you need to touch on that.
Yeah, so let's say you're doing what you're supposed to do. You got your LLC and somebody falls and they're going to sue you. They can sue your business.
Yeah.
And they can access, your business's assets. But you as an individual would be protected. So they couldn't come after you, your home, your cars, what's in your bank account with that LLC. So that's the real benefit of it. But again, a lot of people don't know that, so they get the LLC and they just have it. You're not getting anything out of it besides letting the state know that you're doing business. But you could have did business without an LLC. Without one, technically you're a sole proprietor. So you're still doing business legally. Assuming your business is not, you're not selling drugs or anything like that. Yeah. But technically, you're still a business. So if you're not taking advantage of those benefits of the LLC by doing your part, which is not commingling funds, so you need to get a separate bank account for your business. Not commingling funds, making sure you're running. However you pay yourself, you don't necessarily have to have payroll, and you don't have to pay yourself the exact. This is kind of getting into the tax side, which I try to stay away from. I send people to some tax professionals I know, but you don't have to pay yourself the exact same amount every time, but at least have some type of routine to it, pay yourself the same way, whether you're writing checks or sending electronic transfers, and document that you're paying yourself versus you just always dipping into the account for yourself. Now, if you're swiping your card for business expenses, that's different. But for paying yourself or your employees, just have some type of routine to it. I'm paying myself every Friday or once a month, whatever the case may be. Okay. So those are the two big things: not commingling funds. Making sure you're paying yourself, some in a reasonable way. Not also commingling. So your trademark too. I always tell people when you get your trademark, you should list your business as the owner, not you as the individual, because if you own your trademark, but your business is using it, technically it's commingling. So I'm ready to sue you. I'm confused because you're listed as the owner of the trademark, and I'm suing. I the incident that happened, I recognize that trademark being related to that incident. So
that's a gem right there, y'all. Please register that under your business.
Yeah, I always tell people to get the LLC first. If you don't have an LLC and you're coming to me for the trademark, I'm going to tell you, let's register your business first and get the LLC.
Okay, you mentioned a little bit earlier that you have some responsibilities when you have an LLC, you know? And if you can just touch on a little bit of what these people need. Do you know them on top of the head, to make sure it's official? Like
for the LLC?
What your responsibilities are?
Oh yeah, just what I mentioned as far as not commingling your funds.
Okay, I thought there's something else. Okay, how this goes back to and
your annual registration as well. Just making sure you're staying on top of whatever the state requires for the LLC.
Damn. So
paying your dues. In Atlanta, I think we pay $50 every year. I was talking to a friend in another state though, and he said he's never paid anything in addition. So I'm sure it varies, but you definitely got to do whatever the state says as well.
So when you file for an LLC, do you get random crazy emails from everywhere? Do crazy people just start emailing and try to scam you a little bit?
So I don't know if it happens as often with LLCs, but it happens a lot with trademarks, a lot. And that's why I wonder sometimes about people who don't do it with an attorney, because you might think you really need to pay more money. I have a client, she got a trademark for she has a spa, so she got a trademark for the spa services, and then also her products. She uses 2 brands for it. So what I'm trying to say is she already spent a lot of money,
yeah.
right? She already spent a lot of she spent a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And I'm the one who filed her trademark.
Yeah.
So if you're working with a lawyer, all the correspondence in terms of that trademark goes to your lawyer, and then they deliver that information to you.
Yeah.
The scammers now, they've looked at the trademark filings and they see the registered owner's address on there because it's public information, public record. And then they start sending them mess. So she sent me a picture. Like, I was on my way I don't know where I was going that day, maybe Houston or something, but it's the weekend. She DMs me. She's like, what is this? They said $2,000 or something. And I was like, anything you get from these people, disregard it, okay? If it doesn't come from me, no. So they definitely do that a lot with trademarks. Like I said, I worry about people who do it on their own and don't know any better, because the letter looked official, and it was like, after you've already spent money, you know, if you have the additional money that they're asking for, you're like, well, I've already spent. I wasn't planning to spend this, but I want my trademark, so let me go ahead and send y'all the money. So yeah, it's a lot of
scams out there. Yo, that's what happened to me. I paid my LLC fees, all that stuff. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, we're good, baby. I get the letter. Yeah, I'm good. Then I get 3 letters from somewhere, and then I was like, one was asking for $200. I'm pretty sure the other one was $600, and then the other one was like another amount.
And they look legitimate.
And it looked good. Yeah. Until you know, they got the little fine print. It said something like, this is not a government something, and it was legitimately, you had to like, you know, look at it for real. And I was just like, I was stressing. I was like, damn, they wanted more money for this. My cousin told me it's only like $150, $200. They want additional money from all over the place. So actually, this is because LLCs is for your state, right?
Yes.
And when you get a trademark, if it's federal, it's for all over the place. So how do you make sure that you can operate in all? Do you just get an LLC and then get a trademark, and then does that make you work?
So when you say operate everywhere, do you mean like actually do business everywhere?
Yeah. Let's say like I want a physical office
elsewhere.
Yeah, elsewhere. Yeah.
So if you have your business here, and it's registered here, you got your LLC here, but then you also want to go open one in Georgia. You're likely going to need to register there as well. Sometimes you can get what's called a foreign qualification. But then you're also gonna have to pay taxes in both places as well. So, but your trademark is good throughout the country, so you only need that one trademark.
Okay. Ooh, and how often do you have to renew that?
The trademark?
Yeah.
So after the 6-year mark, they'll ask. After the 6-year mark, they'll ask for something like showing that you're still using. It's like between 5 to 6 years. They'll ask for something from you, like a specimen. I don't know if we were online when we talked about the specimens, but like almost like another specimen, showing that you're still using the trademark. And then at the 10-year mark is when you'll need to technically renew it. Okay. But it won't be as expensive because you're just gonna be paying the fine. Unless I don't know what attorneys are. I haven't been an attorney for 10 years.
Yeah. So, you're good. No worries.
So I haven't got to that point yet where I'm working with people that are renewing it. So I don't know like if someone comes to me and it's time to renew, I don't know exactly what I would charge at that point. And I don't know what other lawyers are charging, but if it's something that you as the client would do on your own, then you're just going to pay that filing fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So now I think I wanted to touch a little bit on domain names and social media names, right? So when thank God when I was doing mine, there was nothing like it, right? So I just had the handle ASAP. Now, if you got your trademark and then your domain, someone has it, you know, they were like, oh, I like that. Let me. So basically, they're stealing it from you. Like,
are they just like? Are you talking about using it and like doing business, or just squatting? Like
just squatting it. You know, they got like, okay, I know they're about to be big. Let me hold on to this. You know, so how is it when it comes to that and usernames and on Twitter and things like that? Is that first come first serve, or is it? What is that?
It is first come first serve. So when it comes to social media like Instagram and Twitter, let's say someone's has the handle and they're not doing anything with it, but then you go and register the trademark technically, and they don't have the registered trademark for it at all. Again, they're not using it. You still can't stop them because they came before you. It
Wow.
doesn't let you go and backdate anything. That's why it's important to, get everything done right away. If you've already registered it and somebody comes and and uses the handle, then you have you can send that to Instagram. And then domain names, that's a whole different process because this whole squatting thing, like that's also federally regulated. Like I can't even think of what the name of the application is. This has a weird acronym. But you have to send it to a board. Like it's a process. Because they're finessing. They trying to make money.
Trying to make some money.
They look for names that nobody could be using it, but you can anticipate like this is catchy.
Yeah. Wow. No, because there was I forgot. I think I was doing some sort of. I think this was in school or somewhere I learned where they're like, I'm just gonna make this up. It's not really what it. They knew Nike was gonna go crazy, right? So they took the name Nike and held on to it, and they're like. And people were like, yo, where's the site? So Nike had a crazy site. And they're like, Nike.com is so much easier. But these guys held on to it. And they legitimately at the end of the day was like, fuck, here's a lot of money.
Yep.
And they paid it just to get rid of the person. So I think, hey, you scammers and all that, please leave us alone, man. Like, come on, bro, stop that. So, okay. That's what I got for that. Right now, with some of the clients that you work with, what's some of the crazier situations? Like, you don't have to give a specific name, but there's been a situation where you're like, whew, okay, this one is tough for me to handle, or like
a tough situation. I wouldn't say necessarily tough, but kind of like demanding. Like I've had some contract disputes. I have a client, not to get too into detail, but she was working with someone, like another professional for her business. And she was trying to get out of the contract. Like there's two women, they were having some personal issues, some text messages went back and forth, people not performing, not doing what they're supposed to do. And she was paying this person a lot of money. So she was like, I want out of the contract. She hasn't done this, she hasn't done that. So I send, the other person a demand letter. Technically it's a demand letter, but it's just more of like a notice that you're breaching the contract, and just demanding that she let her out of the contract. And the lady was like, nope. And next thing you know, her attorney contacts me, like we're on the phone, we're back and forth. And again, these women are like, they're at it. Like, so that was a lot. That was very like drama filled. Like I feel like what I try to teach my clients is like preventative legal. Like in this case, she didn't do anything wrong. She had a contract. It wasn't a great contract because there would have been if I don't think an attorney drafted it, but if someone had drafted it, whoever drafted it for their client would have made sure they had some wiggle room and a way to get out of it without all this commotion. So she didn't do anything wrong in that sense, apart from the fact that she just signed the contract without consulting with someone. But what I try to tell people is like, if we get everything together in the beginning, then you can avoid all of this stuff down the line. And that's why I call it, again, preventative legal. Like, let's get your foundation together, and then somebody comes to you with some mess. No, because it's already in the contract. So we're not arguing about that. It's already on paper. But when you don't, then you end up with these issues later on down the line, and they cost you more money. It's just more drama. It takes more time. You're stressed. Yeah. So I would say it wasn't super challenging, but it was a little bit like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was, God, I can't believe I have to do this again. Dang, so you do draft out contracts too?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was gonna say, who the hell comes up with those? I know it's lawyers, but it's like how? Because when I worked for this one organization once, we had to read some contracts where we got paid because whether they didn't perform something or they didn't meet something. Is like they're like, all right, either you sign this deal with us and extend it for 3 years and for a lower price, or we charge you because you didn't read the contract. So, are contracts important for, I guess, like, is it entertainment or like a podcast? Like
for a podcast?
Yeah. What kind of If you have you dealt with a podcast individual before?
No, I haven't had any clients that have a podcast, but. I used to have a podcast though.
Okay, what was it called? Shout it out. Come on, what's up? Bring it back.
It was called Black Lawyer Girl. And I had, which is my Instagram name. But I had it when I was in law school, and I just used to talk about like law school related stuff. And, it was fun. But I would say for a podcast owner, probably, having contracts with people that are providing services for you. So the people that are recording for you, possibly your guests. I mean, technically, so this becomes a copyright issue right here with us recording. So both of us are working on this. So technically, we both own the copyright. Just if we don't do anything else besides record, we both own the copyright. We both contributed to this recording, right? So we equally own it. But let's say you want to own it and be able to do what. Well, technically, you can still do what you want to do with it because you're part owner. But let's say you don't want me to have any say in it.
Yeah.
I would need to sign a copyright assignment agreement to give you the full rights to it. And the copyright assignment agreement, I mean, that might work you might need that for your logo. Let's say you have a graphic designer do your logo. Even if you've paid them, I mean, they created the work. So you paying them, you just paid for the service. You didn't pay to own that logo. You technically don't own it, even if you've paid for it.
So I think I've seen something interesting. So for example, let's say my cameraman Chris wanted to be Pooh Shiesty, right? Because he's filming this, right? And I guess currently I'm not like, hey, would you call it copy assignment? Whatever you just named it.
It's not copyrighted.
So he could be like, yo, that's my content. That's my content.
And it could cause a dispute.
Oh, sheesh. Chris, don't do me dirty.
But we would have to really assess it because, again, I mean, he's recording, but we're all contributing to it. So I feel like in the case of someone recording it, I would say my legal analysis would be that he owns the footage.
The footage, okay.
Yeah, because I know for sure, like, it's the same thing with the photographer. You go and you pay someone to take your pictures. If they haven't assigned the copyright to you, they technically own those pictures. So technically, usually what you would get is called a license to use it as you please, but you don't own it. They still have full ownership rights.
Damn, is that why people always run into those creepy guys like, hey, you took pictures of me, but you never put it out? Man, I kind of own it, right?
They don't have to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they don't have to.
So all the models out there, man, y'all.
Or they can go sell it to somebody that you don't want to have those pictures.
And your thing could just be in a random magazine
somewhere where you don't want it.
Wow. What's the name of that thing again that you told him to sign? What'd you call it?
The copyright assignment agreement.
Yeah, I'm going to have like 30 of them by the end of this. Hey, sign this real quick. This says it's mine. So.
Yeah, I was working with one of my entertainment clients he was doing a distribution deal. And the copyright issues were, obviously were in the contract. And I was explaining to him, like, the way this is written, a lot of times up and coming artists, you don't have as much leverage in these deals. Not saying you shouldn't negotiate. You absolutely should negotiate. But you got to figure out, like, what can I leverage here? How much do they want to work with me? And I was explaining to him, like, also the party who drafts the contract has the most power initially. That's the art of drafting contracts and negotiations. If I'm drafting it, I'm going to make sure I'm putting in here everything that I want for my client. And then if the other side comes back and they want to negotiate, then we'll talk about it. But if they don't, and it's not a great deal for you, that's on you. So obviously with labels and distribution companies, they're in the business to make money. So they're not thinking about what's best for the client. They're thinking about what's best for the artist. They're thinking about what's best for them. So I explained to him the way this is written. This music, your song, they can go and sell this to Netflix later on and use it. This is the example I gave him. Like, this could be in a documentary that you don't like, that doesn't align with your brand at all. They can license the use to this music to Netflix or to whomsoever, and you might not agree. Yeah. So it's important to talk about about those aspects before you sign that contract.
This is just off the top of my head. So let's say I put this out there. Your episode go crazy. I'm not monetized yet, but I get monetized. I'm getting, let me just 10 bands, and you kind of, you're like, oh, man, hold on, I kind of own part of this because I didn't make you sign. So on my other previous episode, no one signed anything. Let's say I wanted all that. Do I go back and be like, hey, can you sign this for your episode, or is it too late after?
No, it's not too late, but they don't have to sign.
They don't have to sign. Like, hey,
yeah, so it's better you present it before the work is done. Yeah, so it's not too late. No.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot today. Hey, no more podcasts for about a month. I'm out. So, man, thank you so much for that. Hey, interesting fact that I saw. I just looked this online. They said, brands that are protected, basically you have everything in order, you like 20% more in revenue than those who are not, because you know, like you said, maybe if they're selling chocolate, Dove is selling chocolate, you can stop that because you could be getting revenue from that, or your clientele is not going to a random page buying something else, you know. So that's pretty interesting. That's one fact. And then I want to see if you know this one. Do you know about the I think what they called it, the $400 million catchphrase?
No, tell me about it.
So it's like, let's get ready to rumble. You ever seen that one? So the guy trademarked it and copyrighted it, right? Or all that good stuff. And you see it every time being used in fighting movies and all that stuff. So over the generation of his life, so he's made $400 million off of that catchphrase. Because every time he's in there, he's like, hey, come on now, I own that, give me my money for it. Every time the UFCs and boxing and stuff like that, he gets paid off of that all the time.
He's licensed to use.
So I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that statistic, that first statistic that you said makes sense, that they're, what was it, 20%?
20%, yeah, you're 20,
because if you've legitimized your business, again, you have the right to license it, and you're more attractive to corporations or other people coming to work with you. Like once you show that you got everything together, you can attract financing, you attract better deals, so that it makes sense.
Okay. And then so I heard, I don't know if this is real, you can trademark like hashtags and things of that nature. Is that correct? Is that crazy? Or copyright or whatever?
Yeah, because your hashtag, I know you can't submit the hashtag as your specimen. I had that happen recently. They denied it with the hashtag. Yeah. But the slogan or the saying that's actually attached to the hashtag, yes, you could trademark that.
Okay. I got one right now that I would usually use. I got to get that done because
I ain't going to say
it. You're not going to say it? Yeah, I ain't going to say it. They're going to be like, we're going to hold this video for a while. So, damn, that's a lot. So, does all that, I don't know if this is true, like intellectual IP, intellectual property, does that mean, is that everything just put together? Like, this is all your stuff then?
Yeah, just your broad, like your digital real estate is what some people call it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like another thing that you have to do. Like, hey, that's my intellectual property.
Nope, your intellectual property is going to be your trademarks and your copyrights. And
look, that's all of my questions that I have. I don't know if there's something that I missed, because this is what you do, you know? Is there something that I missed that is very important for the audience to know right now? And that you want to, give insights on?
No, I think we covered everything. I think those, that's definitely the foundation. Getting your business registered, LLC or corporation. I tell a lot of my clients, for most people, like 95 to 98% of my clients, I'm going to say get an LLC over a corporation. People think corporations sounds cooler, it's more important. But if you're not selling stock later on down the line, and it's just more paperwork, it's a lot more requirements. So LLC makes sense for more startup business, more businesses in their early stages. So registering your business, getting your trademarks, and then depending on what you're doing, your contracts. Those are going to be the most important things that you have.
Okay, and then I guess, what's up with you? What's next for you? I mean, I guess you kind of touched on it a little bit. Like, give us where can people find you? Your services that you offer and everything. So when they see this, they're like, I want my business legit. So they gonna definitely hit you up. I know we're gonna put your IG there. But what else? Where else can people find you?
So yeah, social media. Obviously, I'm still using Black Lawyer Girl. That started with the podcast. Yeah. But that's my IG. My business page is Jambah Kollie Law. But I feel like I post more of the business stuff on my personal now because people, they resonate with the individual. My website is www.jambahkollielaw.com. As you mentioned, I'm in Atlanta, but trademarks, those are federal. So I'm not Atlanta specific or Georgia specific. That's pretty much it. I'm around.
Okay, awesome. I'm definitely going to try. I mean, I'm going to talk to you off camera just to see, what we're looking at, because I like my business official before I start doing things, right? So talk to you off camera off that. You never want to just throw your prices out there. That's not good. So thank you so much for coming. I know you're just at a wedding. You had a long day. I live 500 years away, so I appreciate you so much for taking the drive to come up here and coming down. I hope, you enjoy your time here in Minnesota for what's left of it at least, and then have fun. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, it's Guglielmo Bang Boy, and like we always say, make like a tree and leaf. I'll see you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.